I did not plan to be brave. I only planned to work. But at 3:33 a.m., the house spoke my name through the vents like it had lungs. It stretched my name long, Maya, until it felt like a string pulled tight. Every mirror in the hall shined like water in the moon, and each one showed a face that was not mine, quiet and sad. A wet shadow slid under my door like a spill that could crawl. The doorknob turned on its own and clicked again, like teeth. I held my broom the way a bat boy holds a bat, too tight, too scared to swing. Then a voice came right through the wood. Maya, it said, time to take your shift. The day I came, the house looked kind. It sat on a small hill with short grass and quiet windows. Wind chimes made a tiny spoon sound, and I told myself this was a good sign. I needed simple work and steady pay. I needed space to breathe. Mr. Whitmore opened the door with a wide smile that never reached his eyes. Mrs. Whitmore brought lemonade that smelled like real lemons. Their kids, Ben and Lily, ran around with sneakers that squeaked. Their big dog Moose wagged so hard he thumped the wall. Nothing looked dangerous. It all looked safe. We walked the halls while Mr. Whitmore talked. He tapped the railing and said, creaky at night. Don't mind it. He pointed to a small iron door under the stairs. That's the dumbwaiter. Don't use it. It sticks. His voice was light, but his eyes were not. We passed a narrow door with a key hanging from a nail. Room 7 stays closed, Mrs. Whitmore said. Her mouth smiled, but her words did not. I made a list in my head like any good maid. Do not touch the dumbwaiter. Do not open room 7. Ignore the creaks. That night, the family left for a work trip. I had the big house to myself, which usually means easy cleaning and early sleep. I rolled up my sleeves, put on music, and started with the kitchen. I like kitchens. Kitchens tell the truth about people. The Whitmore kitchen was bright and smelled like soap. I wiped counters and stacked plates. I boiled water for tea because the air felt colder than June should be. The quiet was big, but it felt safe enough. I told myself this would be a calm night. Upstairs, a draft touched my ankles even though every window was shut. I tucked sheets tight on the guest bed and heard a small sound moving through the vent, like a song that forgot its words. Ma, it breathed. I froze with a pillow in my arms. Yeah, it finished. My name. Not a mistake. Not the wind. The house breathed again, closer now, like it had come to the edge of the wall to speak. I stepped into the hallway and glanced at the mirror between two doors. My face stared back. Then another face slid up behind my shoulder like a quiet boat. She was pale, not old, not young. Her hair looked wet, like she had walked in rain that never ended. I spun around. No one was there. I looked back at the mirror. Only me. My heart hit the inside of my ribs, fast and hard, as if it wanted out. Okay, I told myself. No ghost stories. Keep working. I went to the laundry room and let simple things steady me. Towels hot from the dryer. Napkins folded into neat squares. The hum of the washer rocking like a lullaby. Work is a blanket you can pull over your fear. For a little while it worked. I wiped the top of the fridge where dust tries to live forever. The ordinary rhythm held me. It almost made me forget the second face in the glass. My phone buzzed. A number I didn't know. The message said, "Is the house treating you kindly?" The words were soft, but they made my stomach go cold. I typed, "Who is this?" The dots came, then vanished. No reply. I blocked the number and placed the phone face down. The washer changed to spin, and something under the floor knocked 3 times. Knock, knock, knock. The sound came from the iron door under the stairs. Moose stood tall, the hair on his back lifting like grass in a storm. He growled low, a sound with weight in it. I stepped closer with my flashlight and broom. "Hello?" I asked, because sometimes there is a simple reason. The dumbwaiter knocked once more. This time a whisper slipped through the crack. "Maya." Moose barked deep and scared, a sound that felt wrong in such a tidy house. I backed away. I did not open the door. The lights went out all at once. The fridge fell quiet. The clock froze. I found the flashlight and went to the basement. The air down there was cold, with a sweet, sour smell under it, flowers left too long in water. At the breaker box, one switch sat down while the rest stood up. Someone had put it that way. Not the wind. Not an accident. I flipped it, and the house hummed back to life like nothing had happened. I turned to leave and my light caught writing on the concrete wall. Words traced by a finger in thick dust. Turn the mirrors. The letters were fresh. I reached to wipe them away and stopped. My hand shook. I climbed the stairs fast, Moose pressing against my legs. At the top, I leaned on the door like it could lean back. Turn the mirrors. The words sat in my head like a key you don't want to own. I started with the hall mirror, the one that showed me two faces. I lifted it off its hook. It was heavier than I expected, like it didn't want to move. I turned it to face the wall. The house exhaled. A small, soft sound. I did the bathroom mirror. The big one in the main bedroom. The one by the front door. Each time, the same quiet sigh, like someone had been holding their breath and could finally let it go. After the last mirror, the whisper came back, but it was different now. Not a warning. A thank you. Maya, it breathed. Good. I felt a small warm courage spark in my chest. Who are you? I asked the empty air. No answer. Just the long pause of a room trying to remember something important. I made tea with too much sugar and called my mom so I could hear a normal voice. I left the lamp on and put the broom by the door. Moose curled at my feet like a big heartbeat. I told myself a simple story. I am a maid in a strange house. Houses make noises. Morning will come. This night will be a silly memory. I believed it almost enough to close my eyes. Almost enough to let my breathing slow. Almost enough to forget the mirrors facing the wall. The house said my name in my ear and pulled me out of sleep. Maya. The clock on my phone said 3:33 a.m. again, like time had not moved at all. Moose stood with his head low and his teeth showing. Footsteps came down the hall. Slow, heavy, like someone who knew what walking looked like but hadn't practiced. More shadows gathered under my door, like a crowd without bodies. Maya, many voices said, soft and together. Turn the last one. They meant the thin mirror that watched the stairs. I slid out of bed, picked up my broom, and followed wet footprints forming on the runner, step by step, with no feet to make them. In the glass I saw 6 women behind me, plain clothes, wet hair, tired eyes. One wore a name tag, Eve. Turn me, Eve said. I lifted the mirror and faced it to the wall. The house made a sound like a sob, and warmth came back to the hall. I almost laughed with relief, until 3 exact knocks beat at the front door. The latch turned by itself. The door began to open. The door opens by itself, slow as a mouth deciding to speak. The porch light makes a small yellow circle, but beyond that is only fog, thick and patient. The cold that slips over the threshold doesn't feel like weather. It feels like something waking up and testing the edge of the room with its breath. I tell my hands not to move. The broom shakes anyway. Moose's snarl rolls down the stairs like thunder with nowhere to go. Nothing steps into the house, and that is somehow worse than something. The emptiness itself crosses the line between outside and in. My name hangs in the air, waiting to be claimed. I pull the door shut like I am rowing a boat against a current I can't see. The wood is heavy, like the house wants a different answer. When the lock catches, the quiet hits me so hard it stings. Then the third knock comes, 1, 2, 3, like a rhythm learned in the dark. It's not loud. It's exact. It sounds like tools tapping a bucket before work. I step back without turning around, the way you do when you don't want to show your back to the ocean. My voice is thin but mine. No, I say, to the door, to the hall, to the rules that pretend to be rules. No more games. I do the smallest, most human thing I can find, work. I turn mirrors to the wall. I wipe a counter I already wiped. I put a bowl of warm water down for Moose and listen to him drink without lifting his eyes from the hallway. The ordinary clinks and clatters have edges again. For a few breaths, I can hold them. Fear likes to brag, but work is steady. I let the rhythm of small tasks carry the weight of the big ones. I whisper, thank you, into rooms with no faces and hope the tired women behind the glass can hear me even now that the glass is turned. A message lights my phone like a match in damp air. Check the laundry room shelf. Top left. Hurry. I don't trust the sender, but I trust the need in the words. The shelf holds old cloths, a tin of buttons, and under the second stack, metal, cold, and waiting. It's a small brass bell, the kind from front desks and hotel movies. It sits on a square of yellowed paper that smells like soap and thyme. The ink is thin and careful. When the house calls, do not answer the door. Ring once for quiet. Ring twice for truth. Ring 3 times, and run. Hope is louder than terror for 1 second. Then the pipe behind me tinks and reminds me where I am. I set the bell on the hallway table. Mr. Whitmore watches from a silver picture frame with eyes that never learned to smile. I touch the bell with my smallest finger, as if too much weight might break the night. 1 ring. A bright coin of sound rolls down the hall. Everything stops. Dust hangs like snow held by a photograph. The spoon sound of the wind chimes disappears as if someone pressed mute on the sky. Even Moose holds his breath for a beat. The quiet is not empty, it's full, like a door that closes without a slam. It feels like a promise, you will hear what comes next. My thumb finds the shallow dent where other thumbs have begged before. 2 rings now. The sound travels deeper, under floorboards, into studs, through the hollow places where spiders make thin letters and secrets lie folded. When it fades, the house is the same shape, but the air is different. Truth has weight. Wet, silver trails glisten at the baseboards, running from room 7 to the dumbwaiter like veins. Scratches shave the inside of the front lock, little half-moons where a key tried from the wrong side. The rug shows a darker path between the stairs and the door, footsteps worn by people who weren't walking. The house isn't haunted by the past. It is organized by it. Mr. Whitmore's office is a small, neat mouthful of paper and coffee. The leather book says staff log in thin gold. Names, dates, duties. Some end with a tiny hand-drawn bell. Some with a blue drop of water. Eve Marsh, housekeeper, no end date, only that blue mark. A line in the margin, replaced mirrors, issue returned. Keep room 7 sealed. Do not discuss. Ink is honest in quiet rooms. It tells you what it can and lets the rest sit. I feel my fingerprints on the page like fog on a mirror. When I close the book, the room seems to breathe with me, slow and heavy, as if the walls have been waiting for someone to read the minutes of their meetings. Soft steps pat the hall. I look out and see a girl. Not Lily. A different time presses against her like a dress too tight. Bare feet, braided hair, eyes that have heard basement speak. Don't answer the dumbwaiter, she says in a voice that belongs on a stairwell. It is hungry. It does not chew. Who are you? I ask, and she tips her head. Grace, she says. I helped with washing. I like the dog. I didn't like the bell. It sounds like leaving. Her eyes slide to my apron pocket, where metal rests against metal. Before I can ask more, a far-off call pulls at her like a thread, and she fades the way a thought fades when you reach for it too late. I choose grass over hallways. The night out back is thinner around the edges, as if the sky forgot to pull the fog tight here. The drain waits where the fence and hedge meet, a round mouth scrubbed where fingers touch, rusted where they don't. I kneel and send the flashlight down. Light bounces off wet stone. Something small and stubborn glints. A ribbon, pink and tired. A brass key caught like a fish on a wire. A few pale strands of hair. The key pops into my palm when I nudge it free. Tiny letters on the handle. The metal warms in my hand as if it is relieved to be known. The kitchen light clicks on by itself when I return. The clock still says 3:33 a.m., the way a broken song still sings the same note. I drop damp circles on the tile from the stick I used at the drain, as if I am bringing the backyard inside without meaning to. 2 small truths in my pocket knock against each other, the bell and Eve's key. They feel like teeth and I can't tell if they want to bite or smile. Less extreme, I tell myself, one more time. But the house has run out of smallness to give. The key next to room 7 is heavy as regret. The door smells like cold storage and winter rivers. Water curls out under the wood as if it knows my name. Moose, stay, I whisper, and he obeys because he is brave in the way good dogs are brave. He knows when not to come. Keys speak with clicks. This one says a tired yes. The door pushes back like a sleeping animal that doesn't want to move. I set my shoulder and feel the house hum, pleased, as if it's about to show me its favorite picture. A thin seam of water slips across my shoes and rises to my ankles, warm where it touches skin, like a hand, not a spill. The air has that sweet, sour note of flowers that stayed too long in the vase and turned their perfume into a warning. I push again. The opening is just big enough for me to slide in. Behind me, the hall shrinks to a thin slice. Ahead, the room widens as it fills with dark. The door tries to close on its own breath. For 1 second, I think of the list I wrote on my first day and how rules sometimes pretend to protect when they are really hiding the work they don't want to admit exists. Room 7 is a tank with a house wrapped around it. A square pool sits against the far wall, built in like a chest with its lid gone. The water is flat and black and wrong. Pipes run from it into the walls, one humming down through the floor like a throat that swallows without stopping. The air presses on me, heavy and cold. It smells like the drain multiplied by 10, sweet rot and metal. Every sound is round in here, like water has taught the room how to shape echoes. I understand in my bones what grace meant. This is where the house keeps the rain it steals. Above the tank hangs a mirror that isn't glass, a sheet of polished steel, the kind that shows shapes but not faces. It turns me into a blur with edges and turns the thing behind me into a darker blur that moves when I don't. My own outline wobbles like a memory you're not sure is yours. Eve, I whisper to the black water. I have your key. I'm sorry I'm late. The steel catches a name tag shape over a heart. A hand presses the air on the other side of the metal without pushing it. The surface of the water dimples like a palm testing the skin of the world. The pulley whispers from the hall. The iron door coughs open like a mouth that forgot it could. Cold pours through the house as if the night has been waiting in a shaft for a signal. The bell in my pocket is suddenly heavy, a stone that knows how rivers end. Time to take your shift, the house says again, and this time it sounds pleased, like a song that has found its chorus. I see how the lines connect now, from mirrors to drains, from staff logs to scratches, from keys to names. The house makes shapes out of people. It calls those shapes help. I lift the bell. I don't want to run. I want the truth to choose a side. Once for quiet, twice for truth, 3 times for something else I don't have a name for yet. The sound goes through the walls like light, and every door in the house inhales. The floor tilts. The tank groans like a whale turning in sleep, and a seam splits open, hair thin, then rope thick. The front door flies inward. The porch light spins down the hall like a coin through water. The black wave decides. It lifts me like I weigh nothing and carries me toward the dumbwaiter's open mouth, wide and waiting, as Moose howls a sound that makes the whole night flinch.